I'm going to break down the Baylor football roster for the 2025 season. And I apologize for looking at it because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And I'm doing this now because of the Ashton Hawkins news coming out in the middle of last week, just to get it over with here. And I know Alex Foster's listed on the roster, but he's no longer with us, unfortunately, because of the shooting. Y'all could look at the story and what happened there. Very tragic, to say the least. So, R.I.P. Alex Foster. And this will be the first Baylor football season without J.J. Joe being a color analyst since 2003. Hard to believe, I know, on the radio, I know. Heart attack. Too young. But that's all I wanted. I wanted to just acknowledge both of those things right there. And I know Devin Turner's out for the year, so I want to just go over a number of seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen. Now I'm even including the walk-ons. So without Alex Foster on the roster, mind you, 24 seniors, which I know Devin Turner's out for the year, so he's going to come back for another year of eligibility. I get that. 25 juniors, 28 sophomores, 37 freshmen. So there are and I'm going to just do this based on like the number on each position. Even the special teams, they deserve some credit too, in terms of like kickers and punters. So 5 quarterbacks, 7 running backs, 18 wide receivers, 6 tight ends, 17 offensive linemen, 14 defensive linemen, 9 like linebackers, and then there's 6 outside linebackers, 10 CBs, 16 safeties, 3 kickers, and 1 punter. And I'm going to just say this up front. I do think this is the best Baylor football team that they had since 2021. I know I might have said that about 2022, but it obviously didn't pan out. And honestly, 2023 was really rough. And last year, I didn't know what to expect. I thought 7-5 at best, and they exceeded my expectations, to say the least. And another thing I'm going to mention, the trenches for Baylor is bigger this year than they were last year. So what am I talking about exactly? So for this year, 14 guys on the defensive line. The average weight is 301.5 pounds. So, and obviously last year they had like the average weight was 290.3 pounds for 20 guys on the defensive line. So it is bigger. And this year they even have like 6 guys above 300 pounds when compared to last year with 5. And even 4 guys this year are above 320 pounds. So that is important to note. And another thing I'm going to note is the offensive line. They are bigger also. I'm trying to get to it right now. And I posted this like 4 days ago on XAK Twitter. So I just want to go over that. So the offensive line weight for this year average weight wise is okay, 313.6 pounds, or 5,331 pounds divided by 17. And last year's offensive line weight was 307.2 pounds for 17 guys. And Baylor even has 15 guys above 300 pounds, and including 11 guys that are above 310 pounds. And last year, it was only 12 guys above 300 pounds, including 10 guys above 310. So, thus, it is bigger. And another thing to note on like projected starters, like in terms of the offensive line, according to outlets, 320 pounds for the average. So it is bigger than last year. So that's another thing to note. And I already said I do think this team is good enough to win the Big 12. It's wide open. But I also think at the same time, aim for 7-5 at worst. Look at that schedule. It's tough. You're going to start Auburn at home right off the jump. Then on a Friday, luckily that is a home game and not at Auburn. And then there's SMU as a college football playoff team last year. But I know they lost some, but they gained some. And they got returners as well, especially at quarterback. So that's a tough game. And there's obviously Arizona State, a college football playoff team that was right there to beating Texas a year ago. And you get them at home, fortunately, but it's still going to be a tough game. Same thing goes for Kansas State. And Oklahoma State's a trap game to me because of the history, what Baylor's done against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. They only beat them like 2 times since 1939, 2015, and then obviously 2019. And there's obviously the bye week before the TCU game, but Baylor's only beat TCU like one. The last time they beat TCU at TCU was like 2019. And that was a miracle, as we all know, if you go back in time. And TCU owns Baylor's number in the sport. I get it. I know last year they beat them, but it's still going to be tough. Even with the bye week. And Cincinnati is kind of like a game you better not come out of the TCU game hungover, to say the least. And luckily you do have UCF at home after the Cincinnati game. That's kind of like a tune-up, but not to overlook them, because I do think they're one of the worst teams in the conference this year. And there's no preseason polls because the Big 12 already decided, forget this. And there's obviously Utah at home, and that's huge to get Utah at home, and hopefully we do better than the last 2 years. And I know Utah's got Devin Dampier, good runner, but look at his completion percentage as well as his touchdown interception ratio. It's not that good. And there's obviously Arizona road. I think Arizona might be in for another tough year. And I get they have no Fifita back at quarterback, but still. And they might fire the head coach for all we know. And there's obviously Houston at the very end of the year. So you could tell, and luckily that Houston game is at home. So as you can tell, Baylor's missing out. Iowa State and Texas Tech. And Texas Tech is a shame because Baylor's played Texas Tech since 1955 and every year since then. But it's fortunate for Baylor's schedule. It's just so front-loaded on the schedule this year. Really, after that TCU game, it lines up. It really does. And even like after the bye week. So, we're going to have to wait and see what happens to Baylor football this year. And I also want to go over right before Meet the Bears as in the football team on August 16th at 1 p.m. Central Time. Though, and it's at the Allison, like the indoor facility, and the doors open at 12:30, just so y'all know. So I just wanted to go over this right now. I do not see undefeated happening, though. I don't. 11-1 is, to me, the ceiling. Or at 10-2. But I already kind of mentioned my worst case scenario is like aim 4, 7-5. Look at that schedule. It's kind of tough. Front loaded. Even the home games are not easy. I do think this team is going to build off of last year, though. If I get at least the same record as last year, maybe a little bit better. It's more like how much better, if they're going to get better. Unless some like 2022 TCU shows up, like in terms of like Baylor replicating what they did. Go undefeated. And then for sure, they should make the college football playoff regardless. But even like 2 conference losses does not automatically get Baylor out of the Big 12 title game. It all depends on the tiebreakers. And what else other happens to the other teams in the Big 12. It is a wide open conference. I do think, And Baylor also avoids BYU, which I don't know how to feel about BYU now without Jake Retzlaff, but still. There's obviously like Arizona State, Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, TCU, and really, if you want to throw in Utah, yeah, 6 teams that could win it. 5 or 6 teams. So, yeah, it's wide open as a conference. So, we're going to wait and see what happens. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So, my money to, of course, like video, comment video really helps YouTube background. So, more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well. So, more people could watch it. If you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button. It's free notification bell as well.